All right, everybody, so now we are on to this plastic bumper. Currently, what I've done, I've got it unhooked here. It's how it came into me. I'm gonna leave it like that so I can get back in behind here and begin pushing it out. And one of the first things you wanna look when you do a bumper, this one right here, you see them lines? That's kind of like a, what it is, it's what I call small spider webbing, which is a minor form of cracking in the paint. You see this a lot on bumpers. However, if done properly, this can be kept together during the entire repair. Now, one of the first things that we try to find on a bumper is where are the crowns. I have a crown all the way up through here. I've got a little bit of a crown back in behind here. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is begin heating this bumper and actually pushing on that crown. So what I'm going to be using here on this one, I'm going to start out by working it with my hands. There's other techniques to pinpoint pressure without leaving a divot, and we'll get into that here in just a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and start heating this thing up all the way around and putting a lot of concentration on this hard crown on this end. Now I want to go into this upper crown, something I didn't really notice until I got down here level to it. And you'll see that there's a lot of hidden crowns and bumpers. So when I find one, I'm going to let you know. All right, now I'm actually going to go into the back side of this crown. So I'm going to go ahead and take a few pushes at it, and then I'm going to be priming myself to go ahead and heat the whole area and give it a sweeping push. I just don't want to fight too much against the crowns. You're not going to get them 100% out during this process, but you are going to kind of coast them along, alleviating some of the pressure from the center of the damage. All right, everybody, so now coming over to this side, I'm going to go ahead and start heating this side and giving it some pushes, but I'm priming myself to pull this back, get my hand in behind here and make some big pushes, moving the large part of the damage, molding its way out. Notice how I was able to flip and just kind of coast that crown down while I pushed the back side of the dent. Now, at this point, I'm actually going to heat this entire area and start pushing as far as I can with my hand back here on the back side of the dent. And there is a majority of the dent pushed out. Now what I have here is some little low spots over here and a low spot over here with a crown on the back side. So I'm going to isolate these two areas and work them out as much as I can by hand prior to putting a soft tip in there and actually doing some leverage pushing. All right, everybody, so one of the things you might notice is that I have not gotten a light out yet for this. Typically, you know, bumpers have such a strong radius, I like to go ahead and blend them out in the natural reflection before I isolate little pockets with a light. So if we got little bitty dents that appear here and there, I like to isolate them with a light opposed to starting it with a lamp behind it. But that's just my style. You know, I've done it both ways, and this is what works for me. What I'm actually going to do here, I'm going to go in here with this. It's you've seen this in a lot of my videos. This right here is a rubber tip knockdown, and I'm actually going to use this to press on the crown. So we got a crown running right through here. I'm going to use it to press, 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 and try to remove it, alleviating the pressure from this low. And then at that point, we're going to go in and use some techniques to actually push it out. So again, everything you do with a bumper is going to be accompanied with this heat gun. All your movements, everything, you know, opposed to when you're very, very finishing out, you might not need to use the heat gun all of the time. But during these big sweeping movements, you're going to have to use it, so get used to it. Just take this in. It's not a tapping, it's more of a molding. And push that crown down. When done right, you'll actually see the dent start to mold its way out. Be careful because you can create new little dents while doing this. You're going to find as soon as you heat, you want to go back in and you start to lose your heat fast on a bumper, you got to hit it again and again and again. But you got to maintain that so you can mold this plastic. And you can definitely tell when it needs to be heated. You'll start losing that fluency that a bumper gives you whenever it's nice and warm. Essentially, it'll tighten up and be harder to move. All right, guys, and here's one more thing that I want to show you that works out crown pressure nicely on these dents. We've got this soft tip here. I can actually lay the back part of it on the ground, take the end where the tip's at, place it where I want on the crown, and get ample pressure to just push right down into it. That soft tip works very well when it comes to pushing down crowns on a bumper. All right, and to add to that, I'm actually going to use this soft tip for a lot of the repair. You're going to find when you use a sharp tip on a bumper, it just leaves these little push marks, and I mean, they're very difficult to get out at that point, so I recommend staying with a softer tip tool unless you're looking for something, you're looking to push out something on the bumper that's relatively sharp. At that point, then maybe you might want to use a little bit of a sharper tool, at least to gather up a little bit of that plastic at the bottom. But I'm going to show you how I get this in there. I'm actually going to come here to the back side of the bumper. You see? I'm going to go ahead and slide my tool straight in. So now we've got it right there in that spot that I need it, and I can sit here and hold continuous pressure. Literally, this stuff is so soft that I can move it with just the twist of my wrist. So now I'm going to start heating it up and pushing out the little lows. And that's about all there is to it when it comes to working on plastic bumpers. So I'm going to keep on going here and targeting these little lows all the way through this panel until it's nice and flush. And if I have to, I'll pull out my light and target some of these lows. Again, at the beginning, not so important. At the end, when you want to target a little low, pull your light out, position it right, and that should work for you. All right, everybody, so right here is another bit of damage on the panel. It's a little bitty low, basically left behind from that giant dent. I'm actually going to go in here and heat it up again and make pushes holding it until it molds its way back to its original shape. We're going in the same method that we went in before. We're going to take the soft tip in from the back end and make these pushes. just holding the panel until it cools off a little bit, molding the damage. One little push at a time. Now you need to do this technique throughout the whole bumper. So anywhere you catch a low, heat it up, push it out, and keep on moving along. See, that roll buckle came out real nice. We were able to push that bumper out. All right, everybody, so as you can see, the bumper's fixed, it's clipped back in place, it's all put back together. Little by little was able to mold itself out very effectively. So little push by little push. I'm going to go ahead and give you a shot of that there, and it came out real nice. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next one.